It's April 24th. I'm with three drawing class students of Don Barrie's art class at Seattle Cen College. We're about to go off and I'm going to facilitate my drawing for healing workshop. And the students had some questions about the drawing of the Italian Jewish resistance hero and Obi Juju Kenobi and so on. What was your question again, please?
I was just wondering if it was the drawings were related to your time during that time period.
Well, no, because one thing, I was born in 1950, which is 5 years after World War II ended. I kind of grew up in the shadow of World War II. Growing up in New York, a lot of Jewish people where I grew up. Some of them were Holocaust survivors. Let's say like parents of high school classmates of mine.
Does it have some of the different things within it part of your life at that time frame when you were drawing?
At the time I was working on the drawing. So I did the drawing in 2002. For example, there's a linoleum block print portrait there of a man named Alex. And this on the upper left, the upper right there, and the lower right. So Alex, in the 1990s, I knew Alex and his wife. They were both refugees from Nazi Austria. And they lived in Seattle after World War II for many years. They're both gone now. And after Alex's wife died here in Seattle, he moved back to Vienna after 60 years, and I went to visit him for several days in 1999, and I did some drawings in the linoleum block print. So he was, his own mother had been murdered at the Auschwitz death camp complex in Poland, among other relatives. So that he kind of interwove in my life.
Right.
I knew them from years, 1990s. At the time, they lived in Magnolia, and I had worked I was a library clerk for 29 years. In the 1990s, I worked at the Magnolia Library branch. So that's kind of how Alex ended up in here. The chicken toy, I mentioned I had planned to draw a seagull, and then I saw the toy, and I thought that fit in. It just worked in terms of what I wanted to do. I hadn't been to Italy at the time I did the drawing, but I did go to Italy 2007, was that 6 years ago, and I stayed in this district near where I could walk along the river where this photograph had been taken during World War II, where there were Jewish forced laborers who were forced to do work along the banks of the river, where this 2,000-year-old tomb, Hadrian's tomb, is still there. So the dreidels, being Jewish, Hanukkah, and some of the other things are, I don't know, just kind of all kind of interrelate to, I suppose, my. There's certainly autobiographical elements in some of the works, even if they don't portray me directly. Like I'm gonna come over here for a sec. I did this drawing last year, and there are things in here I took out of sketchbooks I've done. Like this is like when I was a community college student, like 40 years ago here, a drawing of a girlfriend. Sketches of birds I did in West Palm Beach when I would visit my mother there. A sketch I did on a Cascades hike just a couple of years ago. I cut it out of the little drawing sketchbook. So kind of, even though this depicts someone I didn't know personally, but I've read some of his books. He's a now famous writer who was a Holocaust survivor himself. So similar with this thing, there are sketches here, boats up in Ballard. There's all these fishing boats there. You could take the bus up there. The Mountain Lake Bridge, the lampposts, and so on. And some stuff also from my imagination, like this here, and so on. So it reflects both my interest to portray victims, as well as it interweaves my own life and consciousness in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.